thepascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits, as it should. We got something crazy going on out in space, y'all, and we got to talk about this. This is huge. Okay, this is huge and massive and weird and wild, and we have got to talk about it because I know everybody all over the globe is sitting here with concerns about this whole situation. I'm going to keep it real. Never thought I'd ever have this conversation ever in life, okay? Ever in life, but we got to talk about it nonetheless. This is some crazy stuff, and it's been something that's been percolating over the past couple days. This news has been kind of trickling out here. This has been going on for 2 months, by the way. Mind you, it's been going on for 2 months so far. And now we got some new updates revolving around this situation. How long are they really going to be stuck up there? We got astronauts stuck up in space. No lie. This is insane. So we got to talk about it. So please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below, please and thank you. Crush it. Do what you need to do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. That'll be greatly appreciated. Do not forget to hit that follow button if you're watching on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X/Twitter. Show some love on all those platforms, please and thank you. And of course, do not forget to hit that subscribe button here on my main channel. Go over to my secondary channel, all right? Go over to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. All right, we got some new videos and whatnot over there. Please go check that out. I'll explain something here in just a second here, but go and subscribe over there. Hit that join button down below, become a member, support the channel on this main channel, okay, on this main platform. Of course, if you want to support even further, go over to patreon.com/The Pascal Show. That'd be greatly appreciated. And of course, check out my page, check out my store, pascalmerch.com. That'll be dope as hell as well. Okay. All right, guys, we got to get into this. And again, this is absolutely crazy stuff. And again, you know, this is, I'm still very surprised that this is even happening. Again, it's kind of like, it's embarrassing. I'm just going to keep it real. I think this is absolutely embarrassing, not only just for America, okay? But also, let's scrunch it all the way down. Let's zero it in even more. This is even embarrassing for NASA. This is embarrassing for the manufacturing company that actually helped build the spacecraft that got them up to this area. Don't worry, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But really quick, guys, please go over to my secondary channel. Go check it out. If you guys have been keeping an eye on the Trump tragedy that we covered yesterday, I put out the body cam footage by itself up there on my secondary channel. Of course, I do have a short. It's a little bit longer than a short, but there is a short that explains this in a very short, less than a minute and a half long video that explains pretty much the broad strokes of what we're discussing today on this show. So please go over to the secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Show some love simply by hitting that subscribe button over there. And of course, I put this on my TikTok. It's on my Instagram. This is all over my other social medias. So if you like those bite-sized type of content, please, by all means, go over to my TikTok, show some love over there, and hit that follow button as well. But here it is, guys. We got two astronauts, one by the name of Butch Wilmore. The other one is by the name of Sonny Williams. They are both in the International Space Station right now, the ISS, or the ISS, okay, right now as we speak. And they have been stuck up there for 2 months so far. Okay, they went up there, and the plan was that they were going to be up there for about 8 to 10 days. I've heard 8 days, I've heard 10 days. It's been kind of crazy with the information, and that's one of the problems I have with this situation. Information, etc., just failing. Let's just say that for the long story short. Okay? But these two went up to the International Space Station to spend about 10 days. I'm going to say 8 because I'm hearing other reports saying 8. Spending 8 days up there, only to find out that their Starliner, the actual capsule that took them up there, is having issues. And there could be more problems, possibly them getting vaporized by going back into that capsule to go back down to Earth. This is absolutely crazy, guys. Hence the reason why they're up there for 2 months so far. Imagine this. You go up there, you're thinking it's going to be a short trip. Actually, it's funny because it feels like this is what it feels like for any person that's flying, I don't know, American Airlines, any person that's on a summer trip. Let's be real. American Airlines, y'all have some work to do. But if you notice, they're just going on a short little trip, little vacay up there in the International Space Center, Space Station, doing what they need to do. And then all of a sudden, they get this update saying, yeah, there's going to be some delays on our flights. There's going to be a delay on you guys coming back home. Oh, I'm just curious, how long it's going to be? Well, we don't know yet. Well, we find out just about a day or two ago that this whole situation could be resolved in 2025. Yes, a whole other 6 months from now, okay, collectively, adding the 2 months that they're already on, okay, living up there for the past 2 months, add another 6 months, and what you get? 8 whole months of them being up there. That's them missing birthdays, Christmas, New Year's Eve, any other, any other celebratory moments and events in life they are going to miss, all because they had plans to go up there for 8 days and their doggone capsule the bed. Like I said, this is pretty crazy, okay? And I'm saying this before too. We are already experiencing this already, right? Like us as civilians that travel during the summer and all that, doing our little vacays, our little holidays, as some of you guys say, across the pond, and us automatically having these crazy delays in flying back home. But their delay is now 8 months long. Now, we got to get into this. We're going to be talking about this. But again, Butch and Sonny are up there, and I'm sure they're trying to make the best of what's going on in this situation. But it's a crappy situation nonetheless. And of course, they're saying, like I said, I'm curious, why is it going to be taking so damn long? Why can't they just come back home? So we got to get an article here I want to share with you guys. We're going to jump right into it. But like I said before, this is a crazy story, and it's getting national attention. Why? It's getting international attention. Why? Because you got 2 astronauts stuck in doggone space. I'm going to hit the button again because it's insane. How often do you hear something like that? You hear this in horror movies. You know what I mean? Those sci-fi horror movies, like Aliens or something like that. There's a movie, I kid you not, I just watched a movie 2 nights ago called ISS, literally, the International Space Station, where it was like a whole nuclear thing goes off while Americans and Russians are staying in the International Space Station, right? And down below, there's a huge huge nuclear war that goes off underneath them. And then all of a sudden, it's the Americans versus the Russians in this space station. I literally watched this 2 nights ago. And then suddenly I wake up today with this information about 2 astronauts stuck in the ISS. It's insane. Okay. It wasn't a great movie. I'm going to say that too. Sorry. The ending was, but still an interesting concept and scary. Okay? Scary concept because they're looking down and their whole world is turning into a fireball, right? As they are up there. And they're told in this movie, the Russians are told to take over the ISS by any means necessary, and the Americans are told to take over the ISS by any means necessary. So it turns into this whole thriller thing. It's very interesting, but nonetheless, okay. Imagine actually being stuck up in space and you can't do anything about it. You can't get back down. You can't go home or anything of that sort. And I've already, if you see my short, I've already talked about this. Given the fact that this is Boeing's contraption, Boeing's build, in which we already know that Boeing has had some issues as of late with a lot of their planes, and now they're being alleged of rushing construction or the manufacturing of certain planes. Yes, that is also true as well out here in these streets. But I digress. Boeing is involved in this whole situation. We got to talk about that. So let's get into this, guys. All right. They may not be able to get back home until next year. Ain't that about a... Let's move on. Okay. Could they be stuck there in space at the space station until next year? Here's what to know. So NASA is wrestling over how and when to bring, this is, I'm sorry for interrupting the copy here, but it just is insane to me that they're wrestling over how and when to bring the two astronauts back from the ISS after repeatedly delaying their return aboard this Boeing's troubled capsule. Now, here's the thing. Okay, I know I've only read one sentence, okay, and we're going to continue on, but I do want to point this out real quick. Isn't it kind of wild to you that they don't have an option B? Not even option B, but a plan B. I'm just saying, hold up. They don't even have a plan B. Think about it for a second. You NASA, you're the chosen one to go up there in space. Deal with our Star Wars and stuff. See what I did there? Hey. But still, real talk. Aren't they supposed to have a plan all the way down to Z? If this breaks, we have this. Oh, and if that breaks, we even got that one too. Oh, and if that breaks, we even got that one too. Hey, man, if we have to go all the way back down to analog to take care of this ish, we gonna go old school. We got that old clunker right over there, and it does just fine. It does better than the newest stuff we got out here in these streets to fly up and down. Why isn't there a plan B? At least the plan B. And we don't have that. Think about that. They're sitting there doing the math, ruminating, going, carry the one and X equals Y to C and here, all this stuff. And they didn't even think about this stuff before. They just believed that their Boeing Starliner was going to do just fine. Oh, it's fine. It'll be fine. It'll go up there and back down. It'll be fine. They'll be fine. 8 days. It'll be good. No plan B. Weird, right? And now they're debating how and when they're going to take these two innocent lives back down to Earth. Ain't that wild? That's wild. Yeah, it does scream charm. You ain't wrong. This screams Apollo 13. Except we're not, circling around the moon, right? And we don't need Jack Black's mom doing the math equations. We don't have her right now. We don't have Jack Black's mom, saving the situation. Oh, by the way, useless knowledge, but it is kind of cool. All right. The reason why I said Jack Black is Jack Black's mom was one of the reasons why the Apollo 13 came back home in one piece. Just so you know, she apparently is one of the people that figured out the math equation, whatever it was, to solve the reason why they were stuck out there and how they could get everybody back home. And what's really interesting about this is that Jack Black was cooking in her belly while she was doing this. Yeah, random knowledge, but hey, you're welcome. Ain't that fascinating? And then he's Jack Black. You know, he's Jack Black. Ain't that interesting? He has nothing to do with math or science, but still interesting, right? Useless knowledge. Now you know. Hey, that is a deep cut if you know what I'm talking about. All right, let's get into this. All right. Again, no plan B, which is insane to me. Okay. Yeah, Soybean, if you didn't know. Ain't that crazy? She was one of the people that helped get Apollo 13 back to Earth. Crazy, random knowledge, but it's true. Ain't that something? So his mom was super smart, wicked smart. Okay. But anyway, moving on. All right. Did they take a chance and send them home? Do they take a chance and send them home soon in the Boeing Starliner, or wait and bring them back next year with SpaceX? Now, I want you to know from other reports that we're hearing, if they were to jump into this thing, okay? If they were to jump into this Boeing Starliner, they allegedly are saying that they could just instantly be vaporized if they jumped into this. And this is also making me think of Seagate. Remember Seagate, guys? Wasn't that last year with the Seagate? You know, the Titanic submersible. Remember, we learned the difference between a submarine and a submersible, right? We learned all about that. I think that was last summer, right? The submersible went down there. The Titan went down there to see the Titanic, and then of course it went missing. Everybody and their mama was wanting to know what actually happened here, so on and so forth, right? Did they get vaporized down there, or did they survive? Are they off down somewhere? There was also speculation of taparoos going on under the water, down under the sea, right? We had all that going on. Now we're talking about space. And what's even worse is that this is not just some random billionaire playing with toys. This is NASA. We ain't even talking about SpaceX. We ain't even looking at Elon Musk. Okay? We ain't even looking at the Muskie. He has nothing to do with this. This is NASA, y'all. Think about that. Yeah. Remember that? The submersible with the Xbox or the PlayStation controller or something crazy like that? Like the old school? Not even the PS5, like a PS1 or something like that. Remember that ish? Yeah. Crazy, right? Crazy. But anyway, we ain't even looking at that's so crazy. It's NASA. It's supposed to be NASA. Oh, okay, let's go on. Let's move on. Okay. Yeah, the Titan sub. Yes. Yes. So, moving on. We already know their names, but Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams. By the way, they're alive and kicking. They're doing just fine. Okay. Just to make that abundantly clear. Okay. They have been up there since early June. Their planned 8-day mission. See, like I said, some reports say 8, other reports say 10. I lean on what Associated Press has given us. 8-day mission. Okay. Is now at a 2-month mark and possibly could be surpassing 8 whole months. Okay. Testing continues, which is wild to me that they're even doing testing right now. These tests should have already been done before they were launched into space. Okay. In a tuna can. All right. With Boeing expressing confidence in its spacecraft, but NASA divided. A decision is expected next week. Now, let me go back up here. This report was written yesterday and updated yesterday evening, just so you know. Okay? What's wrong with the Boeing Starliner? I'd like to know that too, wouldn't you? So this is Boeing's first... Like, this is when I hear this. because this is their first launch. This is their first time launching astronauts. This may be their last. Hey, hey. This may be their last. After flying a pair of empty Starliners that suffered software and other issues. Even before Wilmore and Williams blasted off on June 5th, their capsule sprang a leak in propulsion-related plumbing. Even before they blasted off on June 5th, their capsule sprang a leak in propulsion-related plumbing. This is from Boeing, by the way. Okay? Boeing and NASA judged the small helium leak to be stable and isolated and proceeded with the test flight. But as Starliner approached the space station the next day, 4 more leaks erupted. 5 thrusters also failed. The capsule managed to dock safely, and 4 of the thrusters ultimately worked. But engineers scrambled, conducting thruster test firings on the ground and in space. After 2 months, there is no root cause for thruster malfunction. All but one of the 28 thrusters seem okay. But the fear is that if too many conk out again, they said conk out. If too many conk out again, the crew safety could be jeopardized. The thrusters are needed at flight's end to keep the capsule in the right position for the critical deorbit burn. Now, I think that's important, right? So they're sitting there saying that they've ran tests, everything seemed to be fine until they had some leaks, etc. This was before they were launched, but then when they launched, more catastrophic things happened while they were launched. So it's already too late. They out there. They've been launched, right? They were able to dock. They were able to do everything just fine, but they realized that this capsule has some serious issues. And again, let me just say this again. No plan B, C, D, E, F, no plans at all. That's a little crazy to me, guys. And extremely dangerous to take 2 people's lives on a whim, right? Playing roulette, basically. All right. So, are the 2 astronauts stranded? And here's the thing. They are basically saying, like, hey, everybody, don't worry. These astronauts are not stranded. But it damn for sure sounds like they stranded for 8 months. If they don't have a place, if they don't have a way to pick them up right now and take them home right now, in my personal opinion, you stranded until you ain't stranded no more. You feel me? Don't tell me, oh, they're fine. No, they're stranded until there is a ship that can take them back home. You see what I'm saying? Because if you ain't stranded, then he can get picked up. They both can get picked up at any given moment. They should be picked up right now. But they're trying to reassure the public they ain't stranded. They're doing just fine. I beg to differ. So, moving on. Are they? So, NASA bristles at suggestions that these 2 are stranded or stuck. NASA has stressed from the get-go that in an emergency at the space station, like a fire or decompression, Starliner could be used by the pair as a lifeboat to leave. A former NASA executive said Thursday that the astronauts are kind of stuck, although certainly not stranded. No, they stranded, y'all. They're safe aboard the space station with plenty of supplies and work to do. That's what they say. Oh, they got plenty of things to do. They got plenty of homework, so they're going to be fine. They won't be too busy. So I don't know what you guys talking about. They Gucci, baby. They're fine. They're not stranded, but they are stranded. All right. If NASA decides to go with the SpaceX return, the Starliner would be cut loose cut loose first to open up one of the 2 parking spots for the U.S. capsules. Before that happens, both astronauts would fashion seats for themselves in the SpaceX Dragon capsule currently docked at the space station. That's because every station occupant needs a lifeboat at all times. Once Starliner's docking port is empty, then SpaceX could launch another Dragon to fill that slot, the one that the two astronauts would ride. So, if they have lifeboats at all times in ISS, at the ISS, why not just get in the mother loving lifeboat and just sailing, right? Sail away, right? Why not? But they're not doing that. Why might they have to wait until next year? Like Boeing's Starliner, SpaceX Dragon is meant to carry 4 astronauts. To make room for the 2 astronauts, NASA said Wednesday it would bump 2 of the 4 astronauts due to launch to the space station next month with SpaceX. The empty seats would be reserved for the 2 astronauts that are up there right now, but they would have to remain up there until February. That's because station missions, and what's up with the guy with the shirt off over here on the side? That just threw me off. But anyway, that's because station missions are supposed to last at least 6 months. Some have lasted a year. 2 Russians up there right now will close out a year-long stint when they return in a 3-seat Soyuz capsule, hopefully I'm saying that right, in September alongside a NASA crewmate. There's no thought given to ordering up a special SpaceX Express. And the Dragon at the station now is the ride home next month for 2 residents. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the guy on the side. He just like, boom, you know what I mean, with the taco meat out and everything. But anyway, this isn't the first time a U.S. astronaut has had their stay extended. NASA astronaut Rubio and his 2 Russian crewmates ended up spending just over a year in space after their docked capsule was hit by space junk and leaked out all its coolant. An empty Russian capsule was sent up to bring them back last September. So here's the thing. I mean, I get it that there's not a whole lot of space, right? And there's only a few select seats and all that. But in a way, I'm like, wait, why? What? That ain't Denzel. Come on now, Jessica. Don't be calling him that ain't Denzel. Come on now. That is not. Nah. Don't do my dude Denzel like that. That is not Denzel. That is just, I don't know, just a person. Okay. But here it is though. Okay. So we get back to being focused here. One thing I think is very interesting, okay, that they're saying, okay, they have 2 Russians up there right now. And in my mind, I'm going, okay, if you got a capsule or a ship coming up there in September, that's a short while from now. That's only a few weeks from now. Why not just, if you got extra space, right, then give them that extra space. Now, I understand Russians and Americans, okay? We ain't getting along so much right now. There's a lot of tension, so on and so forth, but they're cohabitating, right? They're coexisting in this space station. So why not move over? Hey, the 2 people that are supposed to go up, you might have to do 2 trips, right? Get these 2 back down and call it a day, right? At least that's the way I see it. But we'll see. We will see about that, right? But let's continue on. Let us continue on. I think that's a little bit weird. What do the astronauts think about this? They're both retired Navy captains, longtime NASA air astronauts who already have long space station missions behind them. So they've done this, been here, done that before. Okay. They said that going into this test flight that they expected to learn a lot about Starliner and how it operates. At their only news conference from space in July, they assured reporters that they were keeping busy, helping with repairs and research, and expressed confidence in all the Starliner testing going on behind the scenes. There's no public word from them yet on the prospects of an 8-month stay. And I'm going to be real, that's a long time, and I would feel some type of way if I'm a family man, if I, you know what I mean, whatever, if it's just, if that's if it's no big deal to them and it's like, fine, hey, it's just more time and space, then that's fine. I know a lot of people that, a lot of astronauts and a lot of people that have had the opportunity to be up there. A lot of people find solace and peace out there and really love being out there. It just depends, right? Now, I do understand, because I know a lot of you guys are wondering about food supplies and whatnot. From my understanding, SpaceX did send up extra clothes, extra supplies, extra food, and all that. All that they were able to launch a rocket up there to dock and give them things as well. So as far as that goes, okay, they should be okay. They should be okay. But let's look at this. Is there enough food, water, and air? Okay, their suitcases were removed from the Starliner before liftoff to make room for equipment urgently needed for the space station's urine into drinking water recycling system. Yes, they actually have that. So they're what they're using for water. Interesting, right? So they made do with spare clothes already up there. A supply ship finally arrived this week with their clothes, along with extra food and science experiments for the entire 9-person crew. More supplies are due in a few more months. As for air, the space station has its own oxygen generating systems. Despite the fat reserves, NASA would like to get back to normal as soon as possible. Besides these 2 astronauts, there are 4 other Americans and 3 Russians on board. So it's not like they're up there by themselves, chilling in the cut. They just happen to be the only 2 out of the 6. Yeah, the only 2, I'm sorry, out of the 9 that are actually stuck up there because of their ship ish in the bed. Okay? Why is NASA sticking with Starliner? I would have to say money. Okay? I think that's a fair assessment. Okay? To deliberately hire 2 companies to get its crews to and from the space station, just as it did for delivering cargo. The space agency considered it an insurance policy of sorts. If one crew or cargo provider was grounded, the other would carry the load. You want to have enough alternative both. You want to have another alternative, both for cost reasons and for safety reasons and options. So NASA needs Boeing to be successful. And this is what Hubbard said, okay, who served the Columbia Accident Investigation Board in 2003. So even with the latest setbacks, NASA insists it wants to keep using Boeing Starliners for astronaut rides. The goal is to send up 1 Dragon and 1 Starliner every year with crews, 6 months apart until the station is retired in 2023. SpaceX has been up and at it since 2020. Interesting, right? Now, what does Boeing say? And it insists its capsule could still safely bring the astronauts home. But the company said Wednesday it would take the steps necessary to bring the capsule back empty if that's NASA's decision. I think that should be their decision. Send it back, fix it, bring it back. That's what I think, if that's the only choice they got. Last week, the company posted a list of all the tests that have been done on the thrusters since liftoff. We still believe the Starliner's capability and its flight rationale. This is what the company said. A longtime space contractor, Boeing has had to overcome multiple Starliner problems over the years. The company had to launch an empty Starliner twice before committing to a crew, repeating the initial flight test because of bad software and other issues. The delay have cost the company more than $1 billion. Now, I want to say this here really quick. They only launched it twice before they put human bodies in the mother lover? They launched that mother lover twice? Come on, man. You launched it twice empty. Oh, congratulations. Are you kidding me? I would feel like you launch it like 20 times before you actually put human beings in there. Wouldn't you think that would be the way to do it? But no, they did it twice. They had software issues. The delays cost the company $1 billion, and they said, well, we need to put bodies in it. Let's go. We got to put bodies in it. Let's go. That's ridiculous, guys. And then you put two souls in there. Lucky enough they got up there with they still had problems, guys. But lucky that the thing didn't vaporize them when they entered space. Because it would have been a wrap. They would have turned into space junk. That's crazy, guys. Have mercy. Let's continue on. Okay, Hubbard questions whether NASA and Boeing should have launched the crew with the original helium leak. Yes, I agree as well, which cascaded into more. Whatever happens with the Starliner, they need to find out what the problem was and fix it, and give everybody confidence that they are still in the aerospace business in a major way. I mean, I agree. 110%. Like I said, there should be more than just enough. There should be more than just enough confidence. They need to be like, everything's working, everything's fine. Everything's sealed up, everything's proper. Thrusters are all thrusting. Everything's going exactly according to plan. Nothing to worry about. You can get in there and it's fine. But if they have an opportunity to send it back down to Earth to fix it, and then turn that back around and send it back up, then do that. Fix the problem. Yes, I get it's $1 billion, but I'm sure they've spent $1 billion on other ridiculous things. This has to do with people's lives. This has to do with brave individuals that are willing to take themselves out into space for the advancement of whatever it is that they're working on. If it's cancer, if it's just the advancement of science, understanding how our world works, so on and so forth. I mean, shoot, these people are willing to dedicate and sacrifice their lives. So, hey, instead of having another Challenger type of situation, remember the Challenger situation? Instead of having another one of those things happen in front of the whole world, why not make sure everything is tightly wound perfectly? That's just what I have to say about that. Okay? Because this is some dangerous stuff. Very, very dangerous stuff. Now, hold on, guys. So, this is something else that also came out, but I want to share this too. All right. Stranded NASA astronauts could be vaporized, guys, on terrifying mission to return to Earth in faulty Boeing Starliner spaceship. That's something to think about. That they can hop into that thing if they say, "Hey, everything's fine, nothing to worry about here, everything's good, you're safe." Ain't that funny? Oh my gosh! There's a Boeing advertisement right in there. Ain't that funny? That's hilarious. Moving on, though. They're literally saying this could literally be devastating. Absolutely devastating for any person that hops into that thing and then, boom, sent out and crushed. Just like the Titan sub. Think about that, guys. Same thing. Okay? So let's take a look at this. Okay? The two astronauts have been stranded in space for months due to a fault with Boeing's spacecraft. But their return to Earth could be even more terrifying. So, we already know about the two astronauts were only supposed to be up there for 8 days. We already know about that, okay? But a fault with the, capsule's thrusters critical to propel the craft through space means they've been stuck there for over 2 months, okay? And NASA says they may not return until February of next year, 2025. Space Agency is now deciding whether to persist with the faulty Starliner or launch a rescue mission using SpaceX rival ship, which would be hugely embarrassing for Boeing. So if this is a situation, let me just say this really quick. So if this is a situation where it's about ego, they need to drop that ego. Come on now. They need to drop that ego. Period, point blank. They most definitely do. You're telling me that they're going to sit there and go, no. We don't want no billionaire, Elon Musk looking like the hero. We don't want us to look like idiots. We want, no. We going to save the day. We going to save our own butts, not SpaceX. But if you notice, SpaceX is the one who went up and gave them food, supplies, clothing, because he had stuff readily available. Because his stuff is that stitched up. I'm sure, at least I hope, and regardless of what you think of Elon Musk in general, just SpaceX in general, I'm assuming, and I hope that they have a plan B, C, D, E, F, G, so on and so forth, all the way down to Z, if ish hits the fan, right? And you've seen Elon Musk, or at least SpaceX, has run tests after test after test after test after test before they even put human bodies in their spacecrafts. Then we were able to see, remember a couple years ago, the first astronauts, right, to be launched in a SpaceX ship, right? So I would hope that they have all their things, all their T's crossed and their lowercase J's dotted, right? And of course, I get it. But I think it's trash that Boeing is sitting here going, nope, we got it, guys. Hey, Muskie, we good. We don't need you. We got this. We going to save our own people, but it's going to take them 6 months. We need 6 more months to fix everything. They're fine. They're going to be up there. Just let them fix, let them do what they need to do. But, when we get them, we'll get them. Sit down, SpaceX. We don't need your help. Thank you so much for bringing up the food and the supplies and some extra clothes. Appreciate that, but we don't need your help at all to save them and bring them back home to safety. Boeing's worried about looking like a fool. Period. All right? Let's be real. Period. So, Rodolfi, a former space station commander in the U.S. military, explained 3 frightening scenarios that could play out if they chose to go with the former, with Boeing, including a worst-case scenario that would see the crew burning up inside the capsule upon re-entry. All right? So here's some of them. Take a look at this. Stuck in space. Scenario 1, stuck in space because the thrusters fail. 96 hours of oxygen and power. That's all they have. So if they're up there, they could just be sitting there floating in space. Remember, if there's a certain type of trajectory that happens, that specific capsule could just flip continuously off into space far, far away from the, you know what I mean? Far away. And just keep flipping. Real talk, which is terrifying to think about. All right. Just continuous spinning out into wherever. Okay. Scenario two. Scenario two bounces off the atmosphere. So, service module fails to line up reentry, space docking, rescue mission. Okay. So it bounces off. Wow, that's crazy. Bounces off the atmosphere. That's a new one for me. I've never heard of something like that before. I didn't know bouncing like that whole thing. Bouncing off the atmosphere is a new one. Maybe they'll explain that a little bit more in this article. And then scenario three. It says here, and I know you guys can't see it, but I'm going to read it for you. All right. Scenario three, vaporizes in the atmosphere. Astronauts burn up in the atmosphere. Service module fails to align capsule. So that's the other thing. They could be vaporized once they start entering the Earth's atmosphere. That's some scary stuff. That's a scary thought. Real talk. All right. So the module, so it says Starliner's problems are located in the service module, so which is the control center for the entire ship, containing systems that control the thrusters, power, as well as water and oxygen for the occupants. The module, located at the bottom of the capsule, is also critical for aligning the craft for reentry before it jettison away before reentry. So the service module must put the capsule at an angled altitude in order for it to re-enter Earth. If the angle is off, the craft would bounce off the atmosphere, leaving NASA to scramble to locate it in orbit. So it needs to be angled in a way to be able to go in, so it can be able to enter the Earth's atmosphere. I've never heard of that before. With all the movies that we've seen, I've never heard about that. And how did they figure that out? That's very interesting. But they have to go in a specific angle. That's weird, right? If the angle is too steep, there's more friction and a greater chance of burning up in the atmosphere, vaporizing the occupants. Too shallow, and the spacecraft could bounce off the atmosphere and be catapulted back into space like a stone across a pond. So long as the capsule is lined up correctly for re-entry, everything's fine. If the capsule is not lined up, they either burn up or bounce back into space. If the Starliner service module places the capsule in too steep of a re-entry window, then the capsule ablative heat shield. I've never heard of that word before. That's a new one for me. Okay. Heat shield would probably fail. 5 thrusters failed during the 24-hour journey that took the 2 astronauts to the ISS back in June. Okay. And we already know about all the stuff. But that's interesting, right? If they go too steep, okay, if the angle is not proper, if it's not proper, they could burn up if the angle's too steep. If it's too shallow or if the angle is off, they could bounce off into the atmosphere. And then NASA would have to sit there and try to find them. Like I said, it's like once there's a trajectory to that object, it just spins off. There's no friction. There's no stop. Remember, there's no gravity. So it will just spin off. And then they'll have to sit there and scramble to try to find them in enough time to maybe get a chance to retrieve them before they spin out too far away. That's if they don't get their angles right as far as the re-entry into the atmosphere. That's terrifying, guys. That's terrifying. All because they took a Boeing spacecraft that only had 2 tests, for lack of a better term, before they actually put humans in the mug. Imagine that. Imagine that. We got some video we're going to look at here, so let's take a look at this.
We're back, 7:40. It is a long, long time. In depth today, firsthand look at what it is like to be stuck in space.
Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams traveled to the International Space Station on Boeing Starliner back in June. It was supposed to be a 10-day mission, but this morning they're entering day 65 and have been told they may not return until next year.
February of next year. So for a look at what the astronauts are facing, we want to bring in someone with firsthand experience, Mike Massimino, a NASA astronaut. He's a veteran of 2 space flights and now a professor of mechanical engineering at Columbia University. Professor Mike, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we have a lot of weird questions about just how
Fire
this
away.
works. But first, just, I mean, the big picture here. I mean, you get sent on this craft, the Boeing Starliner, and now it's delayed. I mean, is this the right call? How worried would you be if you're an astronaut that you went there and your ride isn't able to return?
I think the astronauts, if I was up there, I would have confidence in the team in place on the ground making those decisions. There's
you know, of course they're going to have confidence in the people that are involved. They have no other choice, y'all. Think about that for a second. They have no other choice but to trust and have faith in the people on the ground to come up with things to get them back home. That's it. Come on, y'all. You know, as much as you sit here and go, oh yeah, of course they have no other choice. They have no other choice, y'all. None. Okay. But real quick, let me grab some of these things really quick. Ex-Sailor, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. And just like Ex-Sailor, please, guys, consider becoming a member. All right. Hit that join button down below. Again, thank you, Lynn, for being a member for the past month. I appreciate it. Can SpaceX not bring them back? Love your coverage. And Snark. Oh, thank you so much. Now, here's the thing. That's the one question I have, too. If SpaceX was able to go up there and give them food and supplies, why can't they just hop on to another spacecraft, from SpaceX and send them mugs back home? That's one thing I'm kind of curious about, too. But I honestly think it's optics. It all has to do with optics here, ladies and germs. Boeing does not want to look like the fool. They don't want to look like they can't take care of their own. There's billions and billions of dollars invested into these Starliners that they're building. And I think that if SpaceX came in and saved the day, this would be a very, very bad look for Boeing. And then, of course, they'll be sitting there going, NASA might be going, so SpaceX, sup? Rather than, yeah, Boeing. Okay, we good. Yeah. Good job on you. You know what I mean? We tried, though. We tried. You know what I mean? Remember that cocktail we had? We tried. We tried. But SpaceX, what's up, though? What's good? That's what I think that they're worried about. Billions of dollars poured into building and manufacturing spacecrafts. They don't want to lose that money. And they don't want SpaceX to come in, swooping in and saving the day. I think it just makes SpaceX look a lot more attractive, in my personal opinion. Okay. But Mimi, thank you so much for the super stickers. I really do appreciate it. All right. But again, they're sitting here going, hey, they're putting a lot of trust in them. Of course they're putting trust in them. They have no other choice. Let's continue on.
a lot of dedicated people who are looking at this, both at Boeing and at NASA. I know the folks who are in charge down there. They've been there for decades. And so as an astronaut, my thoughts would be they're going to make the right decision, whether that means we come back on the Starliner or we stay on orbit for a bit longer. In this case, it might be a lot longer, and come back with a different ride. So I think they have confidence in the team.
In the meantime, we're hearing potentially February. What about supplies? I mean, do they have enough supplies from the real things to, I don't know, their clothes?
Yeah, great question. Yes, they do.
They do.
Yeah, so they try to think of everything, and delays can happen. We did have an astronaut, Frank Rubio, was going on a 6-month mission that turned into a 1-year mission.
Oh, wow.
So they do have extras up there, but they also have supply ships that go up there, and those supply ships can get packed not at the last minute, but pretty close to the launch time. So if they need extra this or that or whatever, they can supply. So they do have deliveries coming there.
I mean, let's be real. All right. Yeah, sure. They got supply ships going up there and supplying everything. I mean, the ISS is one of the largest space stations ever built. And it's been out there for many, many years. People are in there constantly. So yeah, as far as them being there and there being enough air or enough supplies, yes, there's plenty of space. I mean, there's plenty of space because they're in space, but there's plenty of supplies. There's plenty of food. There's plenty of air. They have like I said, it's a rotating place, right? They'll have people up there for months, if not for years. Some people go up there for days. It's a station. So there's a lot of in and outs, right? So as far as that goes, everything's fine with that. If there was like some weird, crazy malfunction that was happening on the station, this would be a completely different conversation. But they're in a safe place. They literally are in a safe place for now. The only reason why there's so much concern is for them to get back home. And the fact that this capsule that they used, this ship that they used, is malfunctioning, that's the main issue. And that's the main problem why everybody is biting their nails and concerned about them coming back home. And the fact that they're also, let's be real, this is the other part too, they're not willing to let other spacecrafts come and pick them up. That's the other issue. It's not like they're sitting there going, nah, let them go on to the Russian spacecraft or let them go on to SpaceX. No, they're not willing to budge or let that actually happen. And that's a huge problem here too. You see, they could be home by now. They literally could be home by now. In my personal opinion, they could. If egos would just step aside and just let them come home. This has turned into an international issue because of optics. Let's not forget that. All surrounding optics. Okay? Thank you, Local Trees. I appreciate it. Support the content, but definitely love the sense of humor you have. Man, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's hard out here for a pimp. You know what I mean? These tragic, crazy stories, you got to throw a little bit of spice in there. You know what I mean? Little cayenne pepper. You know what I mean? Little slap your mama spice in there. You got to have a little bit. You feel me? So thank you so much, Local Trees. I appreciate the love, really. But again, this all has to do with optics, guys. That's the way I see it. Optics, optics, optics. Let me play a little bit more of this.
Pretty often.
So, I mean, how do they shower? What about, I was trying to pack extra underwear for a long trip, but this is getting ridiculous.
I mean, absolutely. But they realize that they are, washing themselves and ingesting recycled urine. I'm sorry, but I have to say it. Like, it's real talk. That it ain't fresh water. Okay. It's recycled, just saying, pretty wild stuff.
Running water in space is a problem because it floats, and also it's also a kind of a commodity. So you do the best you can with kind of like a sponge bath, but you don't take a good shower. Yeah, that kind of thing. And you have waterless shampoo you can use. So you do the best you can, but you certainly miss it. Yeah, you're around each other, and after a little bit, you start to. You only smell inside as that. So yeah, pretty much.
You're all in it together.
That's right.
Both funky.
It's not that. That's not really. It's really not that bad.
No.
Believe it or not.
And finally, though, what about the headspace? I mean, just frankly, your mental health. I'm sure they're able to talk with their family and friends via FaceTime or something like that. But it still has to weigh on your mind for a while when you're technically stuck.
Missing the holidays potentially.
Oh, that's true.
All these are valid things to think about. And that is, I think, the tough part about it, especially when you have your expectation, I'm going to be away for a certain amount of time. Your family is prepared. You kind of go with that mindset. And understanding we're going to get delayed maybe a few days or a few weeks. And that's kind of like gravy. That's a good thing. A couple months, they've been up there now 2 months instead of the 8 days. Okay, that's all right. But looking at another 6 months, that is going to take a shift in mindset, not only for the crew, but also for their families, people on the ground. Because you have holidays, things happen, good and bad. You miss out.
I mean, okay. Obviously, their headspace is fine. Okay. They obviously get tested. They run through a billion tests, field tests, etc., to make sure that they are mentally stable and mentally able to do this type of job. yes, being suddenly adding on top of the fact that they are stuck up there suddenly out of nowhere, where they're like, man, I won't be able to, I'm missing family events, I'm missing so on and so forth. I didn't expect myself to be up here for 8 months. Yeah, that's a very, very big deal, and yeah, could play a big role in someone's mental health for sure. And hopefully they're staying happy and balanced in space right now. But at the same time, they know the mission. They know what was going on. They knew the risks that they were getting into. They knew that, hey, the capsule could explode if they entered space. Anything could have happened, right? They knew the risks that could have happened. Also, let's not forget, they are in a space station that is properly supplied and has space rockets coming up and dropping off and resupplying things for them every so often. So they're fine. And they're not alone. It's not just two of them up there wreaking havoc by themselves. They're up there with a bunch of other people, and they should be fine. The only thing that is a main concern is is the two of them getting back home in one piece. Get them leaving the space station, allegedly in that capsule, that Boeing Starliner, and returning to Earth alive. That is the main concern, I think, that all of us have when it comes to this situation. Of course, like I said, I'm hoping that things get figured out and we find out some new stuff here in the near future. But for right now, this is the information we have so far. When there's new updates, for a fact, I'll give you guys the updates about this and all of that. Okay? But that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really does mean a lot. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. That would be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button here. Go over to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Crush that subscribe button over on my secondary channel. I just put up a short covering this. Okay, go check it out. That'd be greatly appreciated. It's also on TikTok, it's on Facebook, and it's on Instagram. So wherever you are watching and follow this show, please be sure to go and consume it. Of course, go follow me on those platforms. All right, don't forget to do that. Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Go show some love. That'd be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe here. Hit that join button down below, become a member, hit that Patreon, and of course, check out pascalmerch.com. Please and thank you. All right? Like I said, if you appreciate the way I talk about these cases and these situations that are going on all across the world, I really do appreciate the follow and the love. Okay? That would be amazing. Okay? But anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. Much love to you guys. Hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button. And I'll be talking to you guys very soon. Much love to you guys. We'll talk soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. See you guys soon. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.